Back with another video. Scorpio rising, building. As you guys know, the lights keep on flashing, flickering. But you know what that means. That just means it's time. So yeah, want to give a shout out to all my fellow Pisces out there, gang. You already know we in the build done. Also want to give a shout out to all my 2-2s, my 3-3s, my 2-2-2s, my 3-3-3s, and my 7-7-7s. And shout out to any other angelical numerical numbers that I may have forgot to mention. Also want to thank everybody for coming out to support the channel. Thank you. Those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell notification to be notified of my upcoming videos and content. And we're going to jump right in. So here we go. One thing about Pisces is they rebuild in silence and come back unstoppable. See, a lot of times you just gotta break away from everybody, and it's like people don't understand it when you gotta break away from them. Friends that you normally hang with on a day-to-day, they end up realizing that you can't come out and play. Doesn't matter the age, but it's why I say that is because like most people want your energy, especially when it consumes them, especially when they get something out of hanging with you on the day-to-day. Then it's crazy is that the minute you need, the minute you want to rebuild, in other words, that's when you realize that people aren't able to fully let go of you just yet. Welcome, go Diego, go. How you doing? And see, that's why I tell people, like, don't sleep on the Pisces, because it don't even matter if a Pisces is in a situation where, they don't want to be. It don't matter. They could literally be an NBA player, not an NBA player, but hey, who knows? Maybe, it could lead to that. I'm saying they could be a basketball player, in high school, college, and whatnot, and they might just want to work on their craft so they can rebuild themselves and then become better. But let's say somebody like Steph Curry could be like, shooting and practicing, shooting, three-point shots. We're working on his three-point shot, game to where by the time the season come, it's almost like he can't miss, see? But that's what I mean by a person could literally be in a situation, because it's never a dull moment with Pisces. It's always something you working on or trying to get cold at, to where you just not going to accept just the, the bare minimum of whatever you could do in this situation. Welcome, Locked Up too. Welcome everybody just came in. Appreciate that, man. I'm back at it tomorrow. Ain't gonna lie, like, I didn't do no major meal prep today. I just had like some broccoli. It was like some cauliflower salad, something new that I ain't never even ate before in that type of entree. But I had that. I had like some cottage cheese. I ain't really like that though, but that's the texture of that cottage cheese stuff. I don't really like it like that, but I just ate that because of the protein. But it was just like me having to go to the grocery store and do a little shopping for them little items. I was like, dang, most of the items in the stores is so expensive, bro. Like, I'm trying to, eat on a budget. But I went in there, I'm like, dang, it's, I was just surprised. Now, y'all see the lights going. See, that's what I said, when you a Scorpio riser, you start, your aura, your energy start to make lights flicker. It's like little weird stuff that you just notice, but that got a lot to do with your aura, because you gotta think, once you start doing something different, then you start to, I like to say, like, you start creating static. It's like your energy be at its peak. But yeah, so the thing about it, when you think of Pisces is gone, you think, oh, you ain't heard from them in a while. This is usually when they're working on their craft. See, but that's the crazy part, is that as soon as you try to break away from people, people don't like to give you your space. They don't really like to, you know, get into a situation where they can't keep, you know, where they can't keep focus on you. They can't monitor you. So that's why I always say, let me see, Doctor said, trust the process. Facts. See, Gody said, real appreciate your lives. Videos always on point. Hope all is well and keep grinding, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. That's when we really focus on something. But it's like earlier today, I was speaking about how you gotta set realistic goals for yourself, because that's what usually is the problem, when people end up like getting distracted or discouraged because they keep trying to put the bar too high when they haven't even like got something, you know, step one done and, you know, committed to that. So it's like a person that says they want a relationship, but they haven't even like gone through the friendship phase. It's like, you don't want to be unrealistic with, you know, what you can do. Because even if you got faith, or even if you believe in yourself and you feel like you can manifest the outcomes, you still got to have that minimum focus what's in front of you before even, you know, even before you find out what is, you know, above you, beyond you. It's like you got to be able to handle the first couple things, you know, because people don't oftentimes, they don't prepare for that, or they don't train for that. See, most of the time people go in a situation and they're not even aware. As I mentioned, hidden enemies, you could look at the vending machine as a hidden enemy. See, you could look at people that offer you snacks while, you know, you working out or you trying to better yourself. Opposition is on all ends, and as we know with the world, it don't play fair. So anybody that could be against you or go against your plans is an op. See, so it's like anytime you're in a situation, you gotta look at the whole entire situation, not just little bits and pieces. So that's why I say you always want to set realistic goals for yourself. Let me see. Yeah, people love to have a Pisces around. And the problem is, what I tend to notice from year after year is that people like to use Pisces. People like to, you know, they like to take everything for granted, but they like to use us to where they don't oftentimes see any boundaries, you know, regarding us, because of the compassion and the empathy. But then we can feel when people start to get beside themselves to where they start to ask for more than they normally would, or we realize that they're trying to get something out of us. So we know when to break away, to not fall victim to, you know, certain things. But when it comes to Pisces evolving and you know, alchemizing whatever energy needs to be alchemized at the particular time, where I mean by Pisces transcending, and not just, you know, going through a phase or a transformation, but usually a Pisces would try to master something or conquer. It could be anything, it could be a fear, it could be whatever, but a Pisces will normally rebuild into something that you won't recognize. That makes sense, because you gotta understand, like, the manifestations of what Pisces are. When a Pisces creates something, nobody wouldn't even know what it is. Like, no one will be able to relate. No one will be able to understand what you're actually, you know, currently doing. For instance, when I first started this channel, nobody believed in me. Like, nobody. Like, everybody was saying, like, good luck. Well, you know how hard that is. You know, people was trying to discourage me off the rip. And I remember that I saw my vision. I saw, and that's why I always say what's for you is for you. I saw what I wanted to do, and it was like I already knew that I wasn't gonna get received well from others because it was, you know, people would label something that they don't understand as weird. But I knew I was already a weird, you know, type of person, because earlier on growing up, I realized that I had a high interest in, you know, computers, you know, so I used to, like, you know, move things around inside of a tower or a small, you know, small form faction of a PC. But then what I started doing was, me being bored, that allowed me to like start to tamper with things, you know, break things to where I just had to like figure out what is controlling, what is making the computer work in itself, if that makes sense. But what ended up happening to me was that, like, I'll say this, as I began to like ask my mother, you know, how did I used to be when I was, you know, young. She told me, like, you would go in the room and, you know, you would pull out, you know, the old e-machines, like type of PCs. And she said I used to take them apart, to where she didn't understand why I was always taking the computer apart. But when I started to realize that I was already tampering with computers parts, to where I didn't know the names of what was what, but I knew what did what, if that makes sense. Like, that's how I know, like, even if you work, like, I know people that are not educated whatsoever, like, that work on cars, but they know, like, my uncle literally couldn't tell you what was what, but when he'll get your car started if your car was like not started. And I'm not just talking about just a simple battery alternator starter. Like, he was literally like, he knew exactly what to do, but he couldn't explain it to you like what he's doing, if that makes sense. And that's kind of like with me, is that I pretty much the type of person where I'll figure out, I know how to do something but can't explain it. And then when I tell y'all a funny story. I was in college. I went to school for computer technology, and I remember in class we were already, you know, pretty much studying like virtual machines. Like, you know, maybe some of y'all already know what that is, but was like pretty much working on like a virtual machine, so you could really boot Windows up, and you could really run like a different operating system at the same time, but it'd be on like a virtual machine. But like, when I was in class, I realized how bored I was with the subject. It was just like, knowing I got to go through the schooling, it's just like, man, I already knew how to do everything the teacher was telling me. It's just they was making it so complicated. Like, that's why I know in this world, bro, there's so many different form factors and dynamics and politics involved, that literally it's like a rat race. It's like a rat going through a maze just to get the cheese, and the rat already know the shortcuts. Like, hey, I can get to the cheese. I ain't even got to go through all these little hoops and hurdles and all these little things. I know how to take a shortcut and go straight to the cheese. So that's what it's like when you know what you're doing. You don't have to take the long route of how someone's teaching it, because I understand there's people in, you know, school that learn differently, but it's like the way they was explaining instructors, they was like really making it way more complicated than what it needed to be. So I realized that after the whole situation, which I didn't finish because I already had the knowledge, if that makes sense, to where I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just do an LLC, and then I'm gonna just build my own gaming PCs from scratch. See, that's why I say, like, if you're gonna do something, always try to be the pioneer of it. Always try to be the first one to do something in your own way that not what your instructor was telling you to do, not what somebody told you, Joe Blow Smooth off, you know, some type of research that you did, but your own way that you self-taught yourself, to where you utilize that, and then you say, I have my own way of how I build gaming PCs. See, and then when I'm telling you listen, y'all, my first gaming PC that I made for myself, I'm getting almost 150 FPS, bro. No overheating. Man, I'm talking about running like, and I call my PCs sleepers, because you could look at my PC on the outside, don't look like much of nothing. See, but when you turn that bad boy on, it's gonna run every AAA game you could think you throw at it. It's gonna run it, and that mug gonna push FPS. Like, come on, bro. And I never tell people my sauce. I never tell people my secret of what I do, but no one does, because you'll go out of business. You go out of, you know, hey, if I tell you how to do something, that's why I always build things off of a one-man game, like a one-man, you know, you're not gonna hire people. You're just gonna be the person that does all the, you know, the manufacturing, until you get into a situation where you got too many, you know, where you need to hire someone. But yeah, it's just all, and like I said, the only reason I'm saying all that is because when I came up with this channel, nobody knew what the hell, like nobody even knew what I was even talking about. And I didn't expect them to, because listen, it was so many people that I went to thinking that, hey man, can I join your channel? Can I, you know, come on your channel and help out? And I'm glad I didn't, because there was a lot of things that I didn't know that I had to, like, you know, learn. So I'm glad I didn't go into a situation blindly by like trying to help somebody else get their channel off the ground. And yeah, it was just like this, you guys. I know I shared the story before, but I like to talk about it because it seems just interesting. Well, me and my brother's an Aries, and we was always talking about zodiac signs. We was always talking about, you know, our moon. We would have those type of astrological conversations, and we never really talked about nothing like plain and simple. We never talked about nothing that was on the surface. Everything that me and my brother discussed all the time in our conversations was like things that were like kind of nerdy. Like we would talk about Naruto and like different characters, and like, you know, Sasuke and like their secret powers and all. That's the only stuff we would ever talk about, is like some just stuff that was like nobody would understand. If they was just to walk past, they'd be like, what the hell is y'all talking about? But literally, my brother was like into the stuff more than I was, because he would literally at the time, my brother would be like, yo, what's your moon? And yeah, it's transiting. And, you know, he'd be like, oh, your south node. And he was just like throwing so much at me that I'm like, okay, I got an idea what he's asking me and what he's talking about. But my brother was so like, just man, he just knew every little thing, like the whole natal chart. And then I'm like, okay, as he's like speaking to me, I started looking over. We have a fireplace in the house. I started glancing over at the fireplace as he was talking to me. And as soon as I looked at the fireplace, even though it's not a real fireplace, it's a fake one. And then I said, as he kept going, this man said, oh, I'm gonna go pay somebody to get, you know, he wanted to get like to break his chart down. So I'm looking at him and I said, wow, that's crazy how you could have a real fireplace, and then you can literally see the illusion that you could you could do the same damn thing, and it's the same reflection, it's the same thing. But what that taught me is that you need to start your own. Like, you need to make your own, your own version of this. Because like, if you look at a fireplace, you know it takes wood to keep it burning, you know, and it's like the heat feels different from the one that is fake, because the one that's fake, it doesn't, you know, it's made from someone else's, you know, vision. So I'm like, okay, if when I make mines, it ain't gonna sound like what you're used to. I have to make it unique and different, because you got to understand the archons. Okay, the archons are people that bite. Okay, the archons, think of them like gargoyle type of creatures. Okay, so you got the people that will literally bite and try to copy you in such a way, but the way I made my shit, you can't copy it, bro. You could try, and you probably gonna make an ass out of yourself, because the way I do my stuff is only for me, bro. That's why it's a brand. It ain't like, oh, something you can just, oh, just do it and flip it. Nope. I made my stuff, my content, the way I do my own channel. I made this myself. This was like, nobody told me what to do. I did it in my own way. So in the way, the whole vision is not that I'm taking away or changing anything that's related to any astrological you know, knowledge. But what I did was I broke it down. So let's say those of you that's familiar with like a brick, you get a brick and you bust that brick down into nickel and dimes, to where people can literally, you know what I'm saying, understand it. See, so I took the whole thing of the astrological natal chart and broke it down to where people like you and I, especially us brothers, black folks, different folks of all kinds, shit, break it down to where you can understand it. Nobody else is doing that, Maga. Nobody else is doing that. Nope. Because that's the thing. If you don't understand, that's what goes back to my childhood. Like, bro, nobody was there to tell me this is the SSD, or this is the hard drive, and this is the RAM, and this is this, and this is that. No. I had to realize that, okay, obviously this is the storage. See, this is the screen. This is that. But I have my own names. Even though I'm still talking about the same thing as you, I just had a different name. So yeah, if it was called the RAM sticks, I would call it the memory. See, that's why I say the illusion, as long as I'm still talking about the same thing, if I do it my own way, it doesn't matter, fam. See, because think about it. Do you really think somebody's sitting up there saying, oh man, damn, this man talking about this, but he doing it in his own way? As long as they can understand it, they don't give a damn if it was from, if the book was written by Joe Dirt versus, you know, Hulk Hogan. They wouldn't give a rat's, because it's like, oh, we still understand and we still get what he's saying. So boom. But that's still just the, you know, the way that I envision it. So fast forward, I ended up telling my brother, because I had an epiphany. I had this feeling like I just jumped off the damn couch, excited. And my brother still didn't. You know, the funny thing, I'm literally like excited. I jumped off the couch and I was like, I got it. I know what I'm gonna do my YouTube channel on. I know what I got. I said, I got this, bro. I said, this is a genius move right here. I said, bro, I'm gonna do my channel Real Recognize Real. And then I said, but inside of the Real Recognize Real, I'm gonna put numerology, the 33 in there, because that's my life path number. If you add up your birth date, the number you come up with is your life path. So if you add your birth date up, you'll get your life path number. So I put the 33s in there. My brother's sitting on the couch just looking at me like he don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I said, you watch. I said, bro, if this don't take off, I'm done. I'm not doing no YouTube. I said, I'm not even going to even do it. Because you got to understand, when I first started doing YouTube, my very first channel blew up. But the problem was it got shut down because I did a music video, and the music video did 300 views in like 2 days. 300,000 views in 2 days. But once again, you go into a situation, you don't really know like the rules, and the stuff that I posted was something that you can't post, and it instantly got, my whole channel got shut down. So that's why I said, like, that doesn't mean you stop. But then, like I say, years later, I ended up doing another one, and then that failed, did another one that failed, did another one that failed, to where I was just like, you know, I know exactly what to do now, as I seen the illusion, see? And I seen both of them at the same time. I seen the illusion and I seen the facade, and then I ended up coming up with this theory like, wow, that's so crazy. And I said, damn, that's what everybody's doing anyway. See? And then I ended up just taking that same abstract of what I saw, and then I ended up manifesting it. Boom. To where as soon as I did that, I had one video. I actually still have the video, but I had, see, the thing about it, I deleted it because like this is how I feel. Like when you make something that's great, as my first video, as a video that I released, which I'm gonna release it again, but I had to redo it, is that I got like almost 100K views on it, and then I deleted it. Now, most people be like, dude, that's stupid. You should have kept the video, man, you know what, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. But people don't understand is that if you make great content, bro, you're gonna make another one, bro. You see, sometimes you gotta, I'm gonna tell you why I did that. When you delete something that you made, bro, and you felt that like it was a hit, I deleted it for one purpose. It's because most people make something great and then they stop. Or they make something great and they never can do it again. They can't never do it twice. See, but I deleted mine because I realized that this is only the beginning. See, and I didn't want to get too excited where I would stop and get stagnant. See, because some people could do something like they can win the lottery. Of course, it's a one time, and then you got some people that hit the lottery again and again. But for me, I don't want to get into a situation where I'm like, oh, I'm just holding on to that one video, and then all of a sudden it's like when you don't get those numbers again, some people end up quitting. See, because they look at the number, they say, oh damn, this video didn't get as much, oh, this video didn't get as much. And it's like, no, bro, like you want to be able to, if that's how you feel, then just delete it. See, because then it's like you got to break that barrier of where you feel boxed in to where it's like, okay, I want to expand. See, but I mean, to each his own. Like I do see it didn't affect my channel. It just, like I say, I'm still, you know, monetized with all that good stuff. But I'm just saying, like, you can't get to a point where you just think that, oh, I just got this one great thing, and then all of a sudden you just holding on to it for dear life, like, oh, this is the only thing I got going. Like, nah, bro. You see? Then like I say, yeah, appreciate that. See, many me, you said have a blessed evening. Appreciate that. Welcome, Misty. Lovely 369. How you doing? And here's the thing. So usually when a Pisces goes back and they work on their craft, they come back different. See, and that's what you might realize once your Pisces does come back. Your friend doesn't, you know, family member, you know, you realize something has changed because they're not the same as you seen them last. Now, one of the things is that you could look at a Pisces, for instance, they could literally cry in public. Or let's say when they're off to themselves, they can cry in private, okay, but not online. Now, you could think that they're fine, right? But the whole time they're rebuilding themselves emotionally. See, so it's almost like abstract, because sometimes you could look at a Pisces and then all of a sudden you might have witnessed them behave or react to something, and then all of a sudden they give you a different reaction, or they don't react at all. So I'm gonna tell you guys a situation that happened to me recently, okay? And it was regarding a Pisces woman. So I realized that you can't always tell you can't, I'm gonna tell you, okay, so what I realized is that you can't tell a person okay, you can't tell a person things that you know when it comes to what you can't see. See, the things that I'm sharing with you guys right now, you can't share certain things with everybody. And I'm gonna tell you where it starts. Let's say you meet someone for the first time. A lot of people like to ask, what's your sign, right? I that's cool sometimes, but I'm gonna tell you, it's better not to ask someone that off the rip until you guys been talking for quite some time. See, because sometimes when I tell you, I say, okay, some people don't know how to react or respond when you ask a question where it's something that's not often, asked. So some people, they get, I want to say, paralyzed when you ask such a question because they're worried about you judging them. They're worried about what their sign means to you. And they don't understand why you asked them what their sign was. So we got to ask ourselves, why is this? Is because people like to put on airs. People like to show a version of them that is not actually them. See, but if you are given information through, oh, you being a particular sign, then it kind of alleviates the whole point of even trying to lie to impress someone when you first met, when you first met them, in other words. So another thing is that a Pisces will literally study people silently, see? And then people don't understand that they're being studied. They think the Pisces is being nice. Oh, they're so nice and quiet and but they don't even realize that the Pisces is really watching things very closely, see? So people will jump the gun, get impatient, and then they will sit there and tell the Pisces, oh, this is a nice person, or this is a nice Pisces. They wouldn't say it in such a way, but I'm just giving the example. They'll say something like, oh, this is a nice Pisces. Why? Because people think they can read you like a book, Pisces, and they can't, see? And they always rush things and they always push things too soon. Why? Because they don't even understand that you're even reading them as they're doing all of this, see? So that lets you know people are quick to try to box you in, pin you down, and figure you out, Pisces, but you always study them to where you know their moves, the way the way they behave. So another thing what Pisces does is they replay the situations back. See? They always got the footages of how people behave in situations, but it's not to suffer in a sense, but to learn the patterns. That's the thing with every situation in person. Usually there's some sort of pattern. And I'm going to tell you, how do I know this? Is I just got to know, or I was just talking to a Pisces woman. Now, unfortunately, she ghosted me. So she's watching this channel. I'm not tripping, but I am going to use the situation as an example. Now, when I started to talk to her, she kept asking me for more pictures, okay? And it's not something that I like to do, because when we are referring to a situation online, you probably shouldn't you probably shouldn't send pictures of yourself to someone that you just met, okay? Now, that one question, me asking what her sign was, I knew that it made her feel uncomfortable, but I didn't care, see? And when I said, yo, what's your sign? But this is the funny part. I already knew her sign already. but I asked her just to see if she would lie to me. See? And when I asked her, I said, "Are you a Pisces?" And then she said, "Oh my, how do you know that? How do you know? Wait. How do you know that? How do you know that?" I said, "I could just tell." See? Because Pisces, okay, first off, sometimes Pisces, the way they move is like they'll get close to you, and then if you pull in, they'll take 2 steps back. It's like they create space between the two of you, and it's just the way the eyes. So I knew she was a Pisces just by her behavior. Now, problem is that people think you're watching them. People think you know more than what you know. So they assume that, oh, you know, how do you know this? They start getting paranoid. And I pretty much know that took a you know, a turn in the situation. But the crazy part is that we was on the phone for like 4 hours. Now that's my fault, okay? Because I'm long-winded. So we was just talking on the phone, and this is, now I will say she kind of faked me out because, you know, I'm thinking like everything is good between us. But remember I said with Pisces, we tend to dissolve all boundaries, see? And when we dissolve all boundaries, the problem is that some Pisces don't know how to tell you things like, oh, let me, you know, as far as getting off the phone. And I say that because a lot of times what a Pisces may revert to is lying to you, see, in such a way because they don't want to tell you, oh, you know, they're overwhelmed or you know, talking too much or whatever the situation. They don't want to hurt your feelings. So I was just like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, because I'm like, yo, I thought everything was good, and then boom, she hit me with the left field, the ghost. She ghosted me. I said, okay, well, I guess so. I mean, but that lets you know communication is rule the nation. Like, it's not difficult to tell somebody how you really feel. See, what do you got to lose? But anyway, so when it comes to a Pisces, especially a Pisces woman, they can literally, they can really detach, okay? They could detach without warning. And that can really catch a person like me. It caught me off guard because it was too fast. See, it was like the last thing that she told me was I got to get my kids ready for school or something like that. But I already knew that wasn't so. It was just, she was just trying to find a way to, you know, not hurt my feelings, but get off the phone because it was a long conversation. But I also peeped the fact that not only was it a long conversation, but she told me more than probably what she was willing to tell me, if that makes sense. I feel like she probably realized that I got more out of her than what she was willing to give. So it's like when a person, and that I was like, damn, that's how this, I'm like, is this how this really is? Because I'm like, damn, how else are you supposed to get to know someone? And then I realized, like, yo, that's crazy, is that if a person feel vulnerable, then they're gonna end up ghosting you or something just to hide their true feelings. That's, like, to me, is torture. Now, another thing is that mind you, this is diet, so stop. Okay, another thing is okay, so if a Pisces detach without warning, what this may look like is one day they're there with you, see, very attentive, you know, showing the empathy. The next day, the energy totally gone, see. And that back and forth sometimes of you not knowing where you stand is why a lot of times people end up, you know, they end up leaving the situation. Because that's the thing, you won't always get that certainty. You won't always get that whole like, okay, are we good? It's like you got to really know you're good, because a Pisces woman or a Pisces man, they can literally detach without warning to where they're not telling you what's going on and how they feel. See, now another thing what a Pisces can do is reinvent their identity. So here they can have a new mindset, new perception of things. So sometimes if you haven't seen your Pisces for a couple of days, you might start to notice that, wow, this person has a new interest. They just have a whole new mindset. See, so that ends up bringing new habits, a new aura, new friends, new surroundings whatsoever. So when a Pisces go silent and take their energy away from the situation, they can also level up physically. See, so they can do gym workouts. They can, go through a situation while nobody is watching, in a sense. So that's another reason why I say you can't underestimate a Pisces, because a Pisces is literally thinking everything through, if that makes sense. They're really not trying to leave nothing unresolved. They really process everything. Yes, definitely many me for sure. See, Chris said Pisces are the only one I ever like. Raw, pure, real connection. Capricorn here. Oh, shout out to you, Capricorns. Yeah, I think that's the thing, but I feel like sometimes I will say the hardest thing is expression. Especially not now, this doesn't, when I say expression, I'm not talking about Pisces and Pisces. What I'm talking about is more like Pisces and versus other signs. And it's like a Pisces understands what another Pisces is struggling with or going through, or how they mean something when they say it. But if you another sign, sometimes you could literally, misunderstand the whole concept or of expression. Now, one thing about a Pisces as well is they don't like to do the same thing every day. So they like to, once in a while upgrade their style. So they know that people are going to, see them, but it's not just for that alone. It's just about the upgrade in general. So sometimes people can't even recognize that that's the same person. See, that's the same Pisces when they upgrade their style. Like me, like me, when y'all see me, I'm gonna be looking different, because you gotta understand with that transformation, that's what come with it. So yeah, everybody got a story, and it's like, yo, yeah, I was wearing a gray hoodie, and I'm like, I gotta switch it up, and I gotta start to dress differently. But I ain't gonna lie, sometimes, like, that's why I said with the realistic goals that you gotta set, because sometimes what can happen is when you, how can I say this, like, sometimes, okay, I come back to that. So the thing is that you can't, how can I say this, oh, so I said, yeah, when you look at the Pisces, you see, and it's like, oh, you can't really you just realize, oh, this is the same person, but you can't recognize them because they've been working on their style. They've been trying to level up physically. Now, another thing is that the ghosting. So sometimes a Pisces can literally break you off softly and then tell you something which makes you, wonder, oh, they're going to hit me up again. And most of the time they do, but when they don't, it's almost like you could feel the law, you could feel the heaviness, or you could feel something different. So another thing, that ghosting, see, if you go through any type of silence regarding someone else, it doesn't always mean it's directed against you. Sometimes it's that person's transformation. Now, another thing is when it comes to those deeply emotional ties with others, in other words, so here, what this means is that if a Pisces is done, they're done. See, it's all spiritual. So a Pisces can turn pain into discipline. That's how a Pisces can manifest a situation in its outcome. So another, a lot of people don't really talk about that. So it's, when a Pisces get to this point, it's all about action. So that's why I said, if you in a situation with a Pisces woman, for instance, you got to understand that she researches everything. She doesn't miss a beat. She actually checks everything. So I just wanted to say that because, like, sometimes you might not understand just how deep a Pisces is willing to go, see, in a situation. Now, another thing, a Pisces could learn from betrayals, so they end up moving smarter in a sense, not softer. So if you cut, and why I'm saying this, because sometimes you may know a really mean Pisces, and you probably to this day can't really figure out why. And this is who I'm referring to with this note. So if you are in a situation, just know it's different strokes for different folks. Now, no diddy, but yeah. So another thing on a Pisces could do on a glow up is they could become selective with their energy all of a sudden. So this can make people feel, casted aside, rejected in some sense because of the energy. But not everybody gets the access anymore. So sometimes the Pisces realize that the people they were hanging with is a no-go, and they could just leave the situation, even if they got all these ties, like even if they got all these things going on. So another thing, so basically, for a Pisces and going through this type of stage, or this mind state, is that a Pisces must master emotional control. See, so what we have here is the same feelings, but you must have no reaction. So let's say, and I'm gonna tell you, when you practice this, it works wonders. So let's say you go, for instance, I had to upgrade my phone today. So I went to T-Mobile, and I had an S25 Ultra, okay? And as I was using the S25 Ultra, I had it for quite some time, and I was like, you know what? I really just want to go back to iPhones, because I feel like it's something to the end. It's just something to the Android where I feel like that's a facade. I just feel like some deception to Android. I don't know why, you guys. It's just my own little take on it. But I hadn't used the iPhone in so long that I was like, yo, I gotta go back to iPhone. But it's crazy, because why am I saying this? Is that sometimes a Pisces it won't be the same at all from the choices they make. They can literally change friend groups. They can have a whole new, a whole new lineup of friends that you never seen before. If you never even seen that Pisces with those people. And it's like, where did these people come from? But that's because Pisces is connected to everything and everyone. So a Pisces can really go in a situation, meet folks, greet folks, exchange numbers, emails, and all of a sudden, now these people are connected. See, that's why I said the friend groups of which a Pisces keeps is more like the cloud. It's almost like everything is all synced in to where a Pisces knows everybody. See, but because Pisces are secretive and private, they don't flood their, they don't make it someone else's business to know. See, until they're ready to show that person that that other person. But that's why a lot of times people think that Pisces, hide things, because they're like, oh, I didn't even know you, you make stuff like this, or you did stuff like this, or had these type of friends. And it's like a Pisces secretly hides friends. In other words, like, you might not even know that a Pisces has a friend until you end up catching them with someone different. It's like, yo, who's that? Oh, that's just, that's my friend from such and such. But a Pisces is very secretive and likes to hide things that they don't want to get out, that they feel are personal, or that it's like for only them to know only. So when it comes to that in itself, a Pisces doesn't like to explain themselves. See, they don't like doing the whole over talking, because that most likely leads to what? You making mistakes, you making you giving reactions. So a Pisces would rather just stick to the, just the action part of the equation. Now, another thing why I said that a Pisces must master the emotional control, because it's okay for you to have the same feelings as a Pisces, but what must change is that you must have no reactions. See, no reactions whatsoever. Now, when a Pisces is moving in silence, most people think killers are, right? Or they think people of that type of, situation. Now, when it comes to a Pisces moving in silence, there's no more broadcasting their plans and ideas. See? So if you want to ever notice, or not, okay, if you ever want to know, like, how can I say this? Okay, so I'll come back to that. Okay, so basically, a Pisces really has to develop their intuition. That's what so that's what I'm gonna talk about. Now, your intuition is not something that you can easily just understand. No matter how good or let's say how developed you go into the situation, it takes time to process your intuition, to even hear from it, to even notice the difference. See? Now, when it comes to Pisces in general as well, they must be what? Unpredictable. See, you can't read a Pisces no more when they become unpredictable. It's just, the fish is just too fast. See, because of the movement, there's no boundaries. Holding it back, slowing it down. So when you see a Pisces in such a way, you'll know exactly why. Now, one thing I will say is a Pisces is always getting an upgrade. This is why if you are, let's say if you're dating a Pisces is quick to upgrade the situation. So when this happens is that they're not, let me see. Okay, so one thing about Pisces, they focus on their purpose. See, they like to stay locked in into that tunnel vision. See? Now, another thing, let me see, because I lost my trail of thought. Okay, so, okay, let's see here. Okay, so why I said they upgrade their style. Okay, so one thing is that a Pisces blends in with the crowd. They can. Now, people will automatically assume, okay, well, let's say they only see a Pisces at the Walgreens or at a different store. But you got to understand that you have to visualize and see who you're actually dealing with, because some people don't even know that they're dealing with someone that can reinvent their identity from time to time, which means a new mindset, a new just new habits, a new aura. But you got to know that with these type of things, you can't assume that it's just that easy and simple, if that makes sense. Let me see. Yeah, I'm definitely a Pisces as well. Chris said they definitely have great intuition, almost like telepathy. Yeah, so what I was gonna say is that sometimes when you're a Pisces, you gotta be careful, because people, how can I say this? people will try to bait you into, you know, oversharing, if that makes sense. One thing is, how can I say this? Okay, let me see something. So another thing a Pisces may realize is they need to observe before reacting to a situation. So there will be no more impulsive emotions at hand. Now, another thing is a Pisces may realize that they want to stop arguing with people. So the signs becomes their power instead. Now, a Pisces can build their confidence quietly. It's a reason why a Pisces would rather do it like that, because a Pisces doesn't want you to be able to, you know, read what they're actually, you know, whatever it is that they got going on. Silence, like I say, silence becomes that a Pisces power. Now, you gotta be mentally sharp anyway. So that means if you become mentally sharp, it's hard for people to manipulate you. So one thing you gotta do is see, the best thing to get rid of the whole situation itself is people gotta stop people pleasing. See, because those boundaries that you already set, they are strong. So all you gotta do is just keep building onto what you've already built. Now, something else that okay, so another thing is man, I ain't gonna lie, you got every time you see, this is the problem, like every time I get to a certain amount of time, I start feeling tired, you guys. I don't know what that is, but like every time I be feeling so freaking tired as I'm talking or speaking, I start to like get into that whole sleepy mode when I gotta shake it off. So mind you, I didn't take a nap or nothing since I left the gym, so it could be another reason why. But let me see here. It's okay to forgive, like I say, but don't forget the patterns at hand, okay? So here, that will show the growth over resentment. So all these different things that I mentioned, you guys, really shows the fact that a Pisces can really level up when they want to. So people that lie and make those false, you know, allegations about, oh, you know, the Pisces doing this, the Pisces doing that, you know, and whatnot. So that's the thing. Yeah, appreciate everybody coming out. I gotta get some freaking rest, you guys. Every time I get tired, man, I be so freaking tired that I just be like, oh man, I know y'all probably like, damn, dude, but yeah, that's the thing, man. Like when you I gotta find time to rest, bro, cause like I work mostly every day, not like I haven't been working every single day, but I gotta like snap out of that. Cause what happens is like this, like you guys know what I'm saying. When you get tired, fam, it's like you can't like focus, bro. Cause it's like you just start to get super drowsy and sleepy. But yeah, so let me see what else I got. You gotta know that when a Pisces been working on themselves for quite some time, they're not gonna be recognizable. Nope. You ain't gonna be able to recognize them, because you gotta understand, everything that come with a Pisces, they make it a certain way. They don't have something the same way as someone else. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, you guys, and I'll catch y'all next one. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. Catch y'all next one. Peace out.